A cruise ship retracing the route of the Titanic had to turn back toward Europe today when a passenger became ill. The captain still hopes to complete the memorial trip. It was 100 years ago today that the Titanic set off from England, and among the 1,500 who died when it sank were folks from a small town in Ireland hoping for a new life in America. Mark Phillips has their story.
Everything about the Titanic was big. Biggest ship, biggest disaster, biggest story. But this tragedy also came in small packages. Nowhere was it felt more deeply than here in the remote west of Ireland parish of Addergoole. So deeply, it was hardly spoken of for almost 100 years. Now, though, they're rehearsing for a memorial service to commemorate the exact moment the ship went down. 14 people from this tiny place sailed on the Titanic. 11 of them died. Willie Cusack's cousin Catherine, who left this now ruined farm to head for America, was one of them.
It's like losing a big family, do you see, because they all knew one another, do you see. It wasn't just one family, it would be the whole area.
Until now, the practice around here hasn't been to try to remember the Titanic tragedy, but to try to forget it. Too painful, too many victims, and too small a place. Too many families' dreams died on that ship as well. The area, one of Ireland's poorest, sent its children to America not just to a new life, but to send money back so more could follow. It buried its pain for generations, until a new doctor came to town.
Any visitors lately?
Paul Nolan heard stories from elderly patients.
Weeping and gnashing of teeth and wailing and mourning in the houses, and they were totally distraught, and they could do nothing else today but weep and mourn.
Feeling the need for some form of closure, Paul became the driving force behind the Addergoole Titanic Society. It's now produced this memorial park and new stained glass windows in the town's church, one that celebrates the heroic act of Pat Canavan, here holding the rosary beads. He led third-class passengers up from where they were trapped on the lower decks, so at least some had the chance of getting into the lifeboats. Tom Canavan is Pat's nephew.
And then what happened to him?
Well, Pat perished.
He stayed on the ship and
He stayed on the ship.
100 years later, and people here have finally looked into their past and found not just victims they had tried to forget, but heroes. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Addergoole, Ireland.